my beautiful friends. Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you have been keeping very well. I'm really excited. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I ate in a week. Of course, everything in this video is vegan, but for this week as well, I decided to make everything gluten-free so that hopefully it can give some meal inspiration to my vegan and gluten-free friends of the internet. Before we get into the food, I do want to thank my friends at Babbel for sponsoring today's video and making today's video possible. I recently have become obsessed with the YouTube channel Cut and with watching their videos like on repeat. And recently I was watching a video series they did of what language am I speaking, and I honestly found this to be really eye-opening for me because I had no idea. I didn't feel very educated on the languages that people were speaking, and I was like, okay, this is something I really want to learn more of. So when you sign up to Babbel, you can choose a subscription to the Babbel app, which allows you access to all of their videos, games, podcasts, and lessons, or you can decide to sign up to Babbel Live, which gives you everything that is in the app, plus live classes with actual language teachers. So what I love about these Babbel Live classes is that they are limited to 6 students at a time, which means that it is a very easy, safe, and comfortable environment to be learning a new language. You can practice having conversations with others whilst also getting the feedback from the amazing teachers. Not only are the teachers very amazing and very engaged, they are also smart and highly educated in the languages that they teach, and also have a lot of patience for newbies like me who are new to learning a new language. I personally will openly admit that I wouldn't have the confidence to go to a live language class, so I really enjoy the way of doing this online but still being able to interact with different people who are interested in learning the same language that I'm learning, and as well as that, it is cheaper than going to an in-person class and has a 20-day money-back guarantee. If the live classes aren't for you, I still would definitely recommend checking out the Babbel app because I've been really enjoying using that as well. And for a limited time, Babbel have offered some exclusive discounts for you guys, so you can click the link in my description box for 40% off a subscription. Thank you very much to Babbel for making today's video possible. Now let's get into the food. Okay, so the week is starting off very well because on Monday morning we are making pancakes, and I'm gonna link the recipe that I used for these down in the description box below if you want to try it out at home. They were so good, really nice and fluffy and delicious. I had a pancake stack with some chocolate sauce as well as blackberries, and it was a very great start to the day. For lunch, I made one of my all-time favorites, which is some rice paper rolls. In them I had some chickpea tempeh, cucumber, carrot, and coriander. I had 3 of these, and then I also made this really delicious peanut butter dipping sauce, which is my favorite to make to enjoy it with rice paper rolls, and it was a very delicious and fresh lunch. Then moving on to dinner, I started in a frying pan with some onion and garlic, which I fried up in a little bit of oil. I added in this creamy pasta sauce mixture. If you've watched any of my videos recently, you'll probably have noticed my love for creamy pasta. I added in some peas as well as some sun-dried tomatoes to this sauce, added in my gluten-free spaghetti, and then mixed this all together. This was enough to serve 2 for me and my housemate, and yeah, I very much so enjoyed this pasta. If you haven't tried this easy creamy pasta sauce, you definitely need to do so. Okay, Tuesday morning, I'm definitely going through a phase at the moment with chia puddings. So I made kind of like a chia pudding bircher situation with some chia seeds, sunflower seeds, and pumpkin seeds. And then I also added in some almond milk, vanilla, and maple syrup. Mix this all together, and then I put this in the fridge. You want to set it for like an hour or so. So if you are someone who likes to eat first thing in the morning or you run out the door to work, definitely make this the night before. I topped mine with some peach slices and banana, and it was just divine. After this, as a little bit of a snack, I had one of these Health Lab like protein ball things. I'm obsessed with Health Lab as a brand, and I eat their products all of the time, which you may have noticed by now, and this was delicious as per usual. For lunch, I was feeling something really hearty and warming, so I decided to make one of my favorite things, which is just like a simple black bean chili. I also really like serving this with brown rice, so I cooked up some brown rice, and then I topped it with this Greek yogurt that's like a vegan Greek yogurt. It's a coconut base, and yeah, it was really good. Topped it with some coriander and lime as well to complete the dish, and this was a very hearty, nourishing, filling lunch. Also also super simple to make, so I make it quite often. Then when it came to dinner, this is one of my favorite dinners at the moment. I'm going to work on a recipe to share with you soon. I was making this for my housemate and I again, so one of us had tofu and one of us had tempeh, and then into a bowl I added some rice noodles, capsicum, carrot and cucumber. These are all raw, I haven't cooked them. I also added in some coriander as well as some chopped peanuts, and then I added in the chickpea tempeh for myself as well as some tamari and some sesame oil. And yeah, I mixed this all together with my hands. Really quick and easy to make, which I love. Topped it with some extra chopped peanuts and some extra coriander, and this was a really fresh, delicious way to end the day. Definitely cannot complain. Okay, so I'm having a real moment with this breakfast lately, which you may have noticed, and I'm starting with some chickpea tempeh into a bowl with some oil, tamari, barbecue sauce, and a little bit of tomato sauce this time. Interesting, I was just running out of barbecue in reality, so I used a little bit of tomato sauce. I coated the tempeh and then fried it up, and then we're on to making my blat. So I used some of this green goddess dressing that we had in the fridge as my kind of like mayonnaise substitute for this. I then added on my chickpea tempeh, which was a barbecue flavor, with some tomato, some black pepper, and then I also added on the cos lettuce. Onto my other piece of toast I put some avocado, and I sandwiched this together. Really delicious, nourishing. I love this breakfast so much. And then after that, because I was a little bit hungry post breakfast, I made a snack, which was a smoothie with some frozen bananas and ice and this almond milk that I recently found at Woolworths and I'm really enjoying. So I filled that up, added in some cacao powder as well as some chocolate protein powder, chia seeds and some peanut butter, and then blended this all together. This is my go-to smoothie, which you may know because I make it so often. It is really delicious, it's creamy, it's refreshing, it always really hits the spot. So if you're looking for just a classic easy smoothie to make, I definitely recommend. On this day I was also testing a recipe for this chocolate single serve mug cake. So I tested it, it wasn't perfect, but I still enjoyed it very much. So I had it with some coconut yogurt, and this was an afternoon pre-dinner snack situation. Then for dinner we were having friends over, so I was making a whole heap of tomato pasta. I started with some garlic and onion in some olive oil. Then I also added in a whole heap of cherry tomatoes with some water and veggie stock and put a lid on to cover it. And then once the tomatoes were all nice and cooked, I added in a little bit more veggie stock, mixed this all together before adding in a heap of sun-dried tomatoes, one of my favorite foods in the world. I'm having another sun-dried tomato phase at the moment. Then added in some tinned tomatoes, kept mixing this all together. I had mine with some gluten-free pasta, and yeah, it was very delicious. I'm having a spaghetti moment at the moment and really nice to cook for my friends as well. On Thursday morning, I was once again in the mood for a chia pudding, so I decided to make one. I put some chia seeds as well as soy milk into a glass. I added in some chocolate protein powder, some cacao powder, as well as maple syrup, and then I mixed this all together until it was well combined. I put it into the fridge to set, and then once it was done, after about an hour or so, you can see it has this really nice firm texture. I love making chia pudding because it's super simple and it keeps me really full for quite a long time. I topped this with some coconut yogurt as well as banana and blackberries, and it was a great way to start the day. Then for lunch I had these cute baby tomatoes in the fridge and I was like, I need to eat these and do something with them. So I decided to make one of my favorite salads. To make it, I start by rinsing and draining a can of chickpeas and putting it into a bowl with my said cute tomatoes. I also added in some chopped cucumber as well as some chopped white onion. I then also added in some vegan feta as well as some chives, and then as a little bit of a dressing that's like super quick, I added some rice wine vinegar as well as some olive oil, lemon and salt and pepper, and I tossed this all together. It's a very simple lunch. So this dinner is something that I am loving at the moment and working on perfecting a recipe. I honestly have no idea what I would even call this, but to make it I start with some broccoli, leek and corn into a frying frying pan with a bit of oil, and I fry this all up, and whilst it's frying up, I then make this kind of like soupy broth thing. So I put some water, veggie stock, as well as some soy milk and tamari, and I mix this all together and get it nice and hot. Then into my bowls, I have some thick rice noodles. Once again, this recipe is serving 2. So some thick rice noodles, and then I pour the broth over evenly. Then I also top this with the veggies that I had previously fried up. So you could add different veggies if you would like to. And for Kara's, my housemate, it had tofu, and mine just had sesame oil. Some days you just wake up and you're in the mood for a green juice, okay? And I was in the mood for a green juice on Friday morning. I just got this one from the store and poured it over ice to start the day. From there, I then went out to brunch with my friends, and so I got myself an iced chocolate, of course, and then I got this really honestly incredible salad. This is the best salad I have ever eaten. It had like quinoa, pumpkin, corn, a tahini dressing, some avocado. It was a great way to start the day. I wasn't that hungry until the afternoon, and then I had a little snack, once again a Health Lab product because I can't stop buying them. This is just like a chocolate bar that's kind of similar to a Snickers. I really love their products, and so yeah, I snacked on this in the afternoon. Then when it was time for dinner, we had friends over for taco night, so I did this spread. I have some cos lettuce. I also made a fresh salsa, which has got tomatoes, cucumber, and coriander. Then we made some guacamole, which is just a really simple guac, which is avocado, lemon, salt, and pepper. I charred some corn, which in my opinion is a non-negotiable on a taco. We have some lime wedges and some coriander as well. I made a Mexican bean mix, as well as some spicy roast pumpkin and some crispy cauliflower. I had these with some blue corn tortillas, as well as some kombucha, of course, and personally I went for a few cauliflower and corn tacos that were amazing. If you're looking for good gluten-free bread on the Gold Coast, I highly recommend getting the bread from Burley Baker. It is my favorite, and for breakfast this morning I had some of this with some vegan pesto. I then also put some sun-dried tomatoes on top, and then I also added on some vegan feta. In my opinion, like pesto, tomato, and feta is just such an iconic combination, and so this was a really simple and enjoyable breakfast for me on a Saturday morning. I also really am loving polenta so much at the moment. I haven't like mastered cooking it, but I tried to for today's lunch. I also fried up some chickpeas for this lunch and made a really simple salad. So I started with some spinach and rocket in a bowl with this green goddess dressing that I get from the supermarket. I tossed this together, then I topped it with a whole heap of crispy chickpeas, as well as some vegan feta, which I'm clearly loving this week. I continued tossing this all together, and then I topped it with some of this polenta that I had cooked. Once again, haven't perfected it, but it tastes really good, and I really enjoyed having this for lunch. It's just like super flavorful and also really nourishing, so I felt really good afterwards. Then on Saturday night, I made some cauliflower steaks for dinner. Pretty new to the cauliflower steak game, but these tasted really good. So I start by cutting the cauliflower into these like thick pieces. I mean, I guess you can see what they look like, but yeah, I cut the cauliflower into these thick pieces, and then I drizzled them with some olive oil, making sure they were nice and well coated. And then I sprinkled on some harissa seasoning, which is like my favorite seasoning at the moment. I'm using it almost like, I was gonna say almost every day, but not every day, but like I'm using it pretty frequently, especially with cauliflower. I put it in the oven to roast, fried up some of these vegan sausages, which are really good. And then I also I boiled some green beans, which is one of my favorite vegetables. They're just like so good, honestly, on their own. I feel like that's such a vegan thing to say. But anyway, when it came to serving, I had some cauliflower steak with a couple of the vegan sausages. And then I also had a whole heap of green beans. This was just like a really simple dinner that reminded me of when I was a kid, to be honest. Had some tomato sauce with it. Very nostalgic, very delicious, a great Saturday night dinner. Did you really think I would get through an entire week without showing you an iced cacao? it's impossible. I did have iced cacao definitely more than once in this entire week because it's pretty much a daily ritual for me. Did I remember to film it every day? No, but I remembered on the last day, which is the most important in some way. So yes, I made an iced cacao. It was delicious, a great start to the day. Then after that, I went out to brunch with my friends. I got an orange juice to start, and then I also had this salad which had like a whole heap of kale, baby carrots, and beetroot. It had a lot of crispy bits, some crispy chickpeas. There was a lot going on in there, but that was my brunch. Then in the afternoon, I decided that I was in the mood for some cauliflower again, which is pretty frequent at this point, and I wanted to make like some barbecue cauliflower wings. And so I cut up this cauliflower, then into a bowl I put some nutritional yeast, veggie stock, paprika, and olive oil, and made this kind of like paste to put on the outside of the cauliflower. So I tossed all of the cauliflower in this paste slash batter thing, whatever it is that you would like to call it, put these onto a lined baking tray, and then I baked these in the oven. I baked these for probably about 20 minutes, and then from there I actually removed them from the oven. I transferred all of the cauliflower into a bowl, and then I coated it in like a barbecue tomato smoky sauce kind of thing, and then put them back into the oven. Honestly, I wouldn't do this again. They didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them to, but I still did enjoy eating them, and I served them with some of this Greek style coconut yogurt that I've been loving so much lately, and it was a nice afternoon snack, that is for sure. Okay, now we're moving on to our last meal of the week, but don't worry, it was still very delicious. I've almost saved the best till last. I decided to make this kind of like butter bean barbecue and onion pie, like pot pie thing. So into a pot I made some beans with some onion, some tinned tomatoes, some barbecue sauce, smoked paprika, and some veggie stock, and then a little bit of water to thin it out. So I mixed this together kind of like a bean stew, I suppose, but then what I did is I transferred it into a baking dish, and I topped it with some mashed potato, kind of like you would do with a shepherd's pie, and then I put this in the oven to bake for like half an hour. It felt like a really random idea at the time, but it worked out really well, and it was really delicious. Once again, I shared this with my housemate and we both enjoyed it very much so I'm definitely going to make it again and hopefully perfect a recipe so that you can enjoy. And yeah, that is the last thing that I ate this week, vegan and gluten-free. Alrighty, my beautiful friends, that brings us to the end of a week of vegan and gluten-free eats. Hope you got some meal inspiration here. If you would like to see more of these videos, please don't hesitate to let me know. And as always, thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Bye!